loot because that's how they can eat?
The real answer is, how do we make sure, the question is, how do we make sure that people can eat?
So you're not condoning looting?
There's no way to embrace that.
Teenagers here in Chicago. Last night, hundreds of young people descended on Michigan Avenue, smashing car windows and trying to get into Millennium Park. And Friday night, another large group brawled at the 31st Street beach, setting a car on fire.
Well, black people, we need to talk. All right. First of all, hello. I hope you're all well. I am really disappointed to have to make this video because this is getting crazy. There's really something wrong about black people in America. I don't know what exactly we want, because let's start about history. Let's start with history. Let's start with soft history, not even going into details and everything. We have been, black people, we have been colonized, we have been enslaved by all the other races around the planet. We have suffered colonialism, segregation, a whole lot of different things. I would agree with that does not help with the privilege that other people have gotten throughout the years and centuries, decades and centuries. I will agree to that. We had to work hard. People such as Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and so many more people have actually fight for us to have the freedom that we have today. And the freedom that we have today helps us to not actually be into a disadvantaged situation as we were before. I am not saying that we get it as easy as other people, because the reality is that you can send out your CV, and if your name is Kojo, if your name is Lakeisha, if your name sounds black, somebody might actually throw out your CV because it's a black name. That is, it can still happen. Having that said, you can still make it even if you're born in the hood project, in the poorest place in Africa. Being black, you can still make it in life. We have the Oprahs, we have the Jay-Z's, and you don't even have to make it in entertainment. You can make it everywhere, anywhere you want. It is actually going to be hard if you actually start in the hood, because you're not going to have that privilege. Somebody whose ancestor had managed to put money aside, and you have generational wealth, but it is possible. And you don't have to go out and steal to feed yourself, because unfortunately what happened in Chicago is just beyond and above me.
Chaos on the streets of Chicago over the weekend, with large groups gathering downtown. Joni has more now on how local leaders are responding.
And smashing windows. Saturday night, 2 teens were shot. A 16-year-old in the arm, a 17-year-old in the leg, both taken to Northwestern Hospital. Police were trying to respond and escort people to safety, but drivers were trapped, and one woman told our Dane Placco that her husband...
Their windows down, and the guys put in their face, like...
They were hitting him in the face?
So my car is like that.
So first of all, how do teenagers actually organize themselves in this day and age? And your kids go out at night to go and create chaos in your city. Not only it's dangerous for the kids, because obviously something happened to the kid now, you are going to shout that it is police violence, somebody has taken your kid's life, and so. But these kids actually went out, looted, they damaged other people's properties. This lady here, who doesn't have anything to do about anything, she has been scared for her husband. She is now scared for her life. She is distraught. She has lost her car. Maybe she actually needs that car to go to work. You have disrupted her life. And your teens, your kids went out. Where are you to actually not check? When I was a teenager, I wasn't allowed to go out just because. Even during the weekend, I had to ask permission to go out, and my parents always knew where I was. When you're a teenager, you just can't go out and do as you please. Your parents need to be there. They need to give you authorization to go out. They need to know where you are. You're not old enough to do whatever you want. And when you're old enough, you're not allowed to do whatever you want. That is not what life is.
How's your husband? Is he okay?
I don't know.
I'm from Chicago, and I understand kids having a good time, but it's simply bad parenting. We have to do better as parents. Our kids should not be out here. Where are their parents at? That's my question. Why aren't they asking where their kids are at right now? Are they tracking them? Do they see his behavior? This could easily be something very, very terrible.
I'm very happy that Fox, and I don't even like Fox, but Fox actually they've been very careful. They have chosen a black person saying this as well, which is normal. But where are the parents? Because the problem is, again, that sometimes if a white person was the one being interviewed and say that, you were going to criticize it and say that that was racist. Where are you? Where are you, the black parents of these black teenagers? Where are you when your kids are going out and doing such acts? It is so disappointing because we know what it is. When a black person does something, it affects all black people around the planet. It's not only for African Americans, it's not only for African Canadians, it's not only for African Europeans, African Asian, it's for African, and all sort of black people around the planet. Because when other people see us, they're not saying this is a black person from Upper East Side, you're just a black person. We're just black to people. And unfortunately, when we do this, because it affects the whole of us, this has a negative effect on Chicago itself. If you believe that your city is not good enough, your city is not making enough money for your kids and yourself to be actually okay, this is definitely not going to help. Because I'm somebody who was born in Africa and I've always dreamt to go to Chicago one day. This is the city where Michael Jordan actually got his 6 rings. This is the city where Oprah actually had her show. It's a city where we're curious to see, because outside of America, we heard a lot about Chicago. Do you actually think that tourism can continue in your city when you do such things? You are killing your city. You are killing your city, the economy of your city. You are killing that economy today. And it's not a racist situation. And what happened was the mayor, Brandon Jackson, right here, decided to actually go and defend these things that actually went out and loot and stole from different convenience store and different people who damaged, the people who actually went out and damaged other people's car and properties. He decided to go out and defend these young people. Let's listen to what he said. So this is what they did. I actually took a little bit, part of the videos from this person. Can your parents, if you're listening to me, if you're listening to this video and you're a teen, do you think your parents can actually reimburse this damage? Because there's cameras everywhere today. You can be found. You can be sent to jail and you can be sued for reparations. And unfortunately, if that happens, your parents actually have to pay back for you. And do you actually think that your parents have enough money for them to pay for this? Do you actually think your parents have enough money to pay for this?
That's what he started.
Huh?
That's what he started.
Who?
When he put his neck on that man's neck and said we weren't gonna do shit.
Oh, yeah.
The real answer is, how do we make sure, the question is, how do we make sure that people can eat? Look, no one is going to condone, behavior that quite frankly speaks to a level of desperation.
So you're not condoning looting.
I'm saying that people are acting out of desperation.
If you're acting out of desperation, you can even steal food. No, I've seen somebody stealing a loaf of bread once and being handcuffed for that. It was heartbreaking because the person did not go for, let me steal or wash them. They went for bread. You know, it's bad when somebody actually goes and steals bread. It's too easy sometimes because you would say, yes, if it's only for bread, why don't you beg and ask somebody to buy you the bread? Unfortunately, sometimes the situation is that you would actually beg on the street for a couple of hours and nobody will actually help you. Your stomach will speak for itself and you will go and steal, which I'm condoning. I'm not up for stealing anything. This is not what these teenagers did. They didn't go to steal food. They went to steal nonsense.
We don't want a society that is acting out of desperation, but you have to pay attention to the cries that people have.
So you're not condoning looting?
There's no way to embrace that.
The parents are not parenting their kids. The leader of the city, who is the mayor, is not even condoning this. If you don't condone something, how are the kids going to know? Because to me, teenagers are still kids. How are the kids going to know that whatever they're doing is actually not normal? How are they going to learn? Because you, who are supposed to be leading, you ain't doing squat. You're actually supporting this. You are giving them a reason to steal. You're helping them with that reason. This is the leader. This man was actually put into that office. They voted for this man to be their mayor.
What I'm saying is, you can't condone the looting that corporations continue to do every single day when they take tax dollars from black, brown, white folks all over the city of Chicago so that they can turn a profit.
I'm going to do a parenthesis here because this is a channel called the Tatum Officer or something like that. The Officer Tatum. There is also another brother, his name is Black Conservative Perspective or something like that. The brothers, the twin brothers, and day in, day out, these black men, YouTubers, come on YouTube and make videos against black people a lot. They talk also about the trans community, LGBT. They talk about a lot of things, but a lot of the time, they bring up situation and they talk about black people. And a lot of these videos I hate. But I'm one of those people who do not like being extremist. I'm not an extreme Democrat. I am certainly not a Republican. But if it is the truth, it must be said. And on this, it is the truth. I don't hate these videos because, by the way, I don't hate these videos because it's black people just not defending black people. It's black people talking about situation, but I barely ever hear them talking about possible solution to this problem. Black people are the way they are. We need to change. We need to do better. We need to teach our kids to do better because we were not the only people who were colonized by white people. But when people actually look at us today and have a certain picture of us, we have to work to change that picture, that narrative. That has to be our first. Racism is always going to be there. But if we don't try to do better for ourselves, let's not complain when somebody, unfortunately, and I can't believe I'm saying that, like the creator of Dilbert comes and says stuff, we complain. Because unfortunately, especially in the situations such as Chicago, they're right. This is what they look at to talk to you. And unfortunately, they're not only talking to you guys, they're talking to all of us. We have to do better. We have to do better. You have to get up in the morning and make sure that you know where your kids at. Make sure you know how you're raising your child, because if you're not about to raise your child, don't have one. Don't have one. Because one day somebody's going to come and tell you that your child has died because he was looting, because he was stealing, because he was just standing there when his friend was doing something crazy and you didn't teach your son or your daughter well enough to actually say that if a situation such as his is happening, don't be there. Don't be there. If a situation is crazy, your child that you have educated well should not be standing with the people doing this. This is not a difficult situation to actually speak about. This is not something that you cannot teach to your child. That is hurtful. I am seriously hurt because people do not realize that this actually has consequences on everybody. It doesn't matter if your parents are Barack. It doesn't matter if your parents are somebody that is unknown. The only thing that matters is your child is black. People are going to look at your child as these people.
Oh, look at that!
Hundreds of people storm an Arco gas station in Compton, stealing thousands of dollars in merchandise while a sideshow blocks a nearby intersection. KTLA's Carlos Salcedo live in Paramount tonight, where another looting happened just an hour before. Carlos.
Does this look like people actually starving? You've put somebody else in trouble. Because when these people who are a little richer than you are decide to close their business and start over in another city, you're going to complain, saying that there is not enough work. But you have decided to teach your kids to be thieves. This is what you have decided to show them. Not only that,
at the store, they grab everything from booze to condoms, what some would consider essential items. This happened around 2:30 Sunday morning. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was stolen. Deputy.
yes, we are black. Yes, we have a history that if you ever have the opportunity to even go down to Africa and see still the injustice that all of the slavery and colonialism has done, you should. But if we want to change the narrative, we definitely have to change the way we present ourselves to the world. Because we were not the only people that were colonized. Indian people are doing pretty well. Chinese people are doing pretty well. Chicago is a black city. If you want your city to be great, you have to make your city great. You have to make sure that your kids do not go out and do this. You have to make sure that as kids, you work hard. And we have to change. Even when we have to fight against the racism, we have to fight it in a way where we're not in the wrong. But if we're doing things wrong and every time somebody's actually telling us that we're wrong, we scream racism, we're never really going to fix the problem, are we? I'm hurt. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice or anything, because we're wasting time and we're actually making it worse for everybody. These kids, they're not guided, they're not educated, they are lost. They probably are going to have kids tomorrow, they're not going to do great. And this is only going to bring more violence for our community, more violence for the country, more violence around the planet. We need to change. We need to find solutions to our problems. We can't wait for people to find a solution for us. We can't be screaming racism every time, and consequences has to be taken. Some of these kids need to go to jail. Parents actually have to cough the money that they have to repay for the properties that were damaged. That is what the mayor should have actually said. But anyway, that is just my opinion. Like, subscribe, put a comment up, tell me what you think. Let's do better. Let's really do better, because this is really sad. It is. So tell me what you think. It was Faceless. Take care. Ciao.